Coach Calipari will stay at Kentucky. He is retained. Coop, what should people do?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thank you, Coop. What down?
Coop here. First down.
The SEC is better with John Calipari in it. Yes or no? Caleb?
Yes, because he's fun.
He's fun. He's entertaining. I would guess that even SEC basketball fans couldn't name half the coaches that are out there. All right. Now, what down now?
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
All right. Kentucky's program. Is it still the flagship program of the SEC right now with what it's done recently?
Yes, it still is because they have the most recent national title. They have, even though I criticized them where the program's been overrated, I just say a coach hasn't had a dynasty, but 4 different coaches have won 4 national titles since 1978. So, because you got, I forget who won it in 78, but then you had Rick Pitino, Tubby Smith, and John Calipari have all won them.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think Kentucky is, yes, they're the class of the SEC.
What down, Coop?
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
What program is most likely to snag that away from them? Alabama snagged that away from, Florida snagged that title of top program away from Alabama in football in the mid-90s. What program is most likely to just snag it away, say, this is the flagship station or flagship team of the SEC?
Well, as of right now, it's Tennessee. I think Tennessee's best position to take that away. I think an underrated one is Texas when they joined the SEC is very well positioned to take that away too. But
people are going to think I'm just trying to jab you, but I think it's Pearl and I think it's Auburn. And the reason I say that is because they're placing a big emphasis on it. Rick Barnes is going to be 70, so I think he's only got 2 more years. Dalton Connect, obviously, this is his last year. The other programs that are out there, I don't think have a coach that is, I just don't like Nate Oates. Maybe I should pick Alabama. I don't know, but I just don't like him. But as far as having a coach that's still in his prime, there aren't a lot of coaches out there that I look at and I think those are great coaches in their prime. How many make up that group, Caleb, in the SEC right now?
I mean, very few. You are right about that. I mean, you would say, Chris Beard at Ole Miss, watch out for him, quite honestly, the one who got fired from Texas. Yeah, Bruce Pearl towards the end. Rick Barnes. I get what you're saying, but I just think Rick Barnes could coach until 80 and still have his wits about him. And I don't mean coach till 80 the way Joe Paterno did. I don't know any of my players, as he would say at his press conferences.
All your voice is your Paterno impression, maybe your best.
Was that a good one?
That was good. Yeah.
Really?
And I'm telling you, it is not.
Like, that is total bullshit.
It wasn't, Peyton. It was great.
So let's have a Joe Paterno Lou Holtz conversation one day at this.
Do that.
Everything should be done with college football.
All right. What down is it?
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. Fourth down.
The SEC's response to Calipari stumbling in the NCAA tournament and the SEC being absolutely horrible in the NCAA tournament should be blank. And it's brought to you by our good friends at Dynasty Pools and Spas. Don't forget, they deliver, and you will be absolutely blown away by their showroom, Dynasty Pools and Spas. Just imagine having the best spas made right here in the United States of America in your backyard. What about that? Dynasty Pools and Spas. Their showroom is open in Athens, right off the interstate. You can stop by and check out the best hot tubs and spas in the market. And then delivery, yes, they can do that to Knoxville or Chattanooga. They've got complete support, spa cover, and chemicals to keep your spa bubbling at its best. They also have pool chemicals as well. Dynasty Pools and Spas, amazing discounts for first responders, military, and even some blemish models that can save you a ton, and no one will ever notice. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Go to dynastypoolsandspas.com or or stop by that showroom in Athens. DynastyPoolsAndSpas.com. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Dynasty Pools and Spas delivers within 125 miles, and they have the best chemicals for your pool and spa with more active ingredients and less filler than you get at the big box store. And they're all local. Support local, support our sponsors. That's why we are here. Caleb, fourth down. You say what?
I don't think the SEC will have much of a response to this. I think most of the programs are content with basketball. I mean,
go
Arkansas,
get Duke in North Carolina. I've had enough of this. Have some leverage in when they put these tournament games on. Duke and North Carolina, go get them.
So, look, I mean, Arkansas actually won a national title in the 90s, and they're still a football school, right?
Yes.
Florida won back-to-back national titles, and they're still a football school. In the 2000s, they won back-to-back national titles. I think national titles they should be more proud of than the football titles they're proud of, but they won't ever say that. But let's be honest, I have much greater respect for the Billy Donovan teams and the Urban Meyer teams of that era.
Agreed.
And yet still Kentucky's the class because they just don't care enough. I think Tennessee could take it away. So I don't think it's going to put anybody on notice. I think the SEC is largely already on notice because they're seeing value in basketball. You're seeing them really, over the past few years, they've done a great job of hiring coaches. The SEC has, better than I've ever seen. But
wait a second, you kind of contradicted yourself. You said the coaches weren't great.
No, I didn't. I said there were no like great coaches in their prime. They've hired like good coaches, but no coach is great enough to take out Kentucky.
The one is Nate Oates, isn't he? Even though we hate to say it because I really don't like him.
Possibly. I would have said Eric Musselman at Arkansas until this year. But you know, it's funny because we talk about this Kentucky thing and like these legendary names, Rick Pitino. So Rick Pitino was at Kentucky at the same time Nolan was at Arkansas. One's a blue blood, and Nolan won a national title before Pitino did.
You know what is so funny? Arthur brings this up on the message board. And that is Kentucky really did not have that bad of a season. If you go back and look, what was the final ranking? I mean, we talk about Tennessee having this special, iconic season, but greatest of the eons. And I think there was, one or two games separating them ultimately in both the overall win-loss record and the SEC record. And by Kentucky's viewed as they had a down year.
They did go. They went 23-10 though. That's a very mediocre record by Kentucky standards, even in the regular season.
I agree. But what was Tennessee?
Tennessee was 26-8. Now they're 26-8. That add 2 NCAA tournament wins. So to be fair, you actually have a point because Kentucky went into.
I'm glad I could surprise you.
No, because Kentucky went into the NCAA tournament 23-9. Tennessee went in at 24-8. So that does make it pretty clear that Tennessee was. I do see your point there. As far as, but I think Tennessee is one of the few schools that could surpass Kentucky as a basketball school because I think as a basketball blue blood because I think the fans would be there for it. Don't you agree? Like Tennessee's one of the few where the fans would. Although Alabama's there too. I think Alabama really cares about other sports. I know people that follow Alabama softball, honestly, heavily, and
those people have a lot of free time on their hands, though. You would have to agree with that.
Yeah, they would. But remember when Florida was the class of the SEC in basketball, they still weren't filling that tiny stadium, the Stephen O'Connell Center or whatever. Like they never cared down there in Gainesville about basketball.
Interesting. So I ask you this, how many schools could possibly overtake if this happened, which we're talking about a big, big if, but there was a time that Florida seemed more like a championship football school than Alabama with all the issues that they were going through. So it can happen probably for a short time. The blue bloods are the blue bloods, no matter the sport. But what are the schools? Give me 3 or 4 or 5 that you think, wrapping this up, that you think can surpass the University of Kentucky as the premier flagship program in the SEC, brought to you by Don Self. Customer service still matters. For over 40 years, they built their business on taking care of their customers. That's Don Self, the greater Chattanooga area, 423-396-2126. That's 423-396-2126, or go to donself.net, donself.net. So who's in as far as programs that could replace Kentucky as the flagship program in college basketball? I would go Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn. You said Texas. I'm having trouble coming up with another one, Caleb.
I'm
Maybe you would throw it A&M because they're so well funded and everything.
Yeah, so A&M and Texas, I would do it. Alabama, Tennessee. I can't go Auburn. Dave, to say this, they would have to stay relevant past Bruce Pearl. I don't think Auburn's going to do that, and I don't think the boosters and fans are there. I think my other one is, I'm sticking with it. I think it's Arkansas. I mean, because whatever you think, whatever you think about Arkansas, they did win a national title in the 90s. There's a lot of fond memories of the 40 minutes. I felt they won a national title playing the most fun brand of basketball you could play. You think there's a lot of wealthy people who went to school during that time now that
like Bill Clinton?
Yes, that's a good
like Jerry Jones. Maybe they could get Jerry Jones to bomb a basketball player or two.
Jerry Jones isn't going to care about the basketball program.
I know, but it never hurts to ask. He's got millions just laying around.
But true. But so the question comes to you, because like Florida was clearly, that program was Billy Donovan, not Florida, right? It was Billy Donovan.
Yes.
Would you say Arkansas success was indicative of what could be there, or was that just Nolan Richardson running a good system at the time?
I think that Arkansas probably got a little bit too big for their britches and thought that Nolan Richardson was just a factor in what they had built, when in reality, you and I know he was who built it.
Yes, they also.
I think they thought they could just hire another coach to take over for Nolan, and they'd still be knocking on the door of a championship every year, and that ain't the case.
Also helped that Nolan could go right across the river, the Mississippi River, and just get those Memphis kids right out of Memphis, pluck them right out. I mean, and he would have them in Arkansas, like Todd Day. And
I'm telling you, call Jerry Jones. Call Jerry Jones.
They are. If they were in a better.
I'm wrestling with something in my head that I'm going to ask the message board. Should I do this? I have a very okay Jerry Jones impression, and I'm not sure that I should do it. If you'll hit the like button.
What is it? I don't know what it is.
If you hit the subscribe button, all my impressions are better than yours.
That was my Joe Pa impression.
No, your Joe Pa's that's top rank. I interviewed Jerry Jones one time in the locker room, and I'm trying to rekindle that. Well, what we got to go out and do is sit. No, not good. I want to work on that.
That sounded a little more like Jimmy Johnson than Jerry Jones.
Yeah, that was like some sort of amalgamation of both. Yes, that's a word.